Welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV. Don't just rep the show you love, wear it. Something like that. Go to rodpedersen.com, click on store, and there we go. Joe Lozito joins us from where the hell are you, Joe?
Hey, Roddy. Today I'm at home, Massapequa, Long Island, New York.
Oh, okay, good. You're back. Well, I appreciate you finding the time to join us. I gave you a very big billboard of a build up there. Bills fan, Islanders podcaster. You're on a Canadian tour. But listen, we have a lot to talk about. We have 20 minutes here to do it, and I appreciate that. We'll get to the sports. But Joe, I told you I was going to bring this up. If somebody Googled you, what would they find?
Well, if somebody Googles me, I would definitely say be prepared if you click on the image portion because there's some pretty graphic images.
True.
Almost 15 years ago now, Roddy. It's been almost 15 years. I was part of a news cycle. I was attacked on a New York City subway by a spree killer. He had murdered 4 people the prior 28 hours to attacking me. And he attacked me, and I fought back. And fortunately, there's a lot of stuff in between, but I lived to tell the tale. And I'm here. I've had 14 and a half years of tomorrows to spend with my family. And I'll tell the story to anybody. As a matter of fact, like you do the inspirational speaking and things like that. That's something I'm looking to break into myself because if my story is inspirational to anybody and I can spread the word and inspire people, that's what I'd love to do.
Dude, you wrap that up very succinctly because there's way more to this story. And let me help you in however you want. But that's the thing, everybody. Yeah. Joe Lozito, to quote what should I call him? Your icon, John Frenzy. He's a winner all the way. Joe Lozito. Okay. So now, having said all that, we're going to get to your Bills and your Islanders who are on the road tonight at New Jersey. But frankly, my guilty pleasure is like yours. It's junior hockey. So I'm a little envious, bro, about your last little northern tour here. Would you tell folks what you were just doing?
Yeah, for sure. So 3 seasons ago, my oldest son and I, we decided we were going to head up to Ontario. We're going to catch, maybe 4 games in 4 nights, 5 games in 5 nights. And we just it's sort of like something your dad could relate to being a scout. We just go up and we map out our game plan before we go and we hit different rinks. And for myself, I get to see some old friends that I knew as players and now are in executive roles or coaching roles and stuff like that. And it's become an annual thing for my son Joey and I. And when you texted me yesterday about the football game, we're actually at our last game. It was the 5th game in 5 days. We're up in Brantford, Ontario, and we had hit a couple of cities before that. And we love doing it. We just drive up and we're going town to town. And it's just a nice road trip. For myself, my sons are getting older now. My son that I went on the trip with, he's 25. I have a 22-year-old. So any opportunity I get to spend time with them, it's wonderful. And both my sons love hockey. And Joey, he definitely is more into the junior side, where Dominic focuses mostly more on the NHL. And it's just a lot of fun. And the thing I get out of it is something I think you really could appreciate is how much these teams mean to the communities, because
Ooh.
we go to cities like London and Windsor where they're bigger and they're big in the city, but we've been to cities like Sudbury and North Bay, and we were just up in the Sioux, and these towns, these teams mean so much to the towns. And I kind of sit there being from New York. We have New York City here, I'm on Long Island, but just to see these small towns and how much these junior hockey clubs mean to these towns and these cities, I sit back and it's really good to see. It's sort of the lifeblood of the city, and I love it. And we're already talking about next year. We just have to wait for the schedule to come out.
Well, you do a great job speaking. You do a great job speaking, Joe. We got to get you doing more of that. But I quite frankly regularly talk about my 20 years in the CFL. I don't talk enough about my 20 years in junior hockey. And quite frankly, at the start, I kind of took it for granted. I didn't realize until I got out of it how awesome it is. I didn't know that. And in those small towns, as you say, when the team takes the ice, that's cool stuff.
It's phenomenal. It's great. And we were in Windsor a couple of days ago, and the head coach there, Greg Walters, and I'll say it, he should have won Coach of the Year last year in the OHL. But as you know, Roddy, sometimes politics play a part in sports, and Wally should have won Coach of the Year last year, but he didn't. But we go back a long way, and He invited my son and I to come to the morning skate, and I met a bunch of the guys. And Windsor's a team for you folks out west that only follow the Western League. I think you're going to see them in Kelowna this year in the Memorial Cup. There's some good OHL teams. I'm biased towards Windsor, but as I was saying, we just go to the morning skate and you meet these kids, and they're a great group of kids. And I just, like I said, I just love it. I grew up in an NHL city. I grew up in Queens, New York, and then on Long Island. So I've been around the NHL. And by the time I see these players, they're adults. I mean, obviously, when they come in as rookies, they're kids, but I get to see these players as full grown adults. And now in the last 3 years, I get to see these guys as kids, and to see this Windsor team. They're kind of built like an NHL team. They have defined roles for all their players. They have a bunch of first round picks on the team. A guy you and I have texted about, Ethan Belchez. That's the guy I want the Islanders to somehow find a way to draft this year. He's going to be a top 5 pick. So it's fun, Roddy. You know what? It's fun. It really brings back my love of hockey. I sometimes get jaded with the NHL, and I go to these junior games and I just look at my son every game and I go, I love watching this league. I love watching this level of hockey. And I'd recommend anybody that is strictly from an NHL city or a professional city, if you have the opportunity to go watch some junior games, I would do it, because it's absolutely wonderful. It's fascinating and it's exciting. It's sort of like the hockey I grew up on.
Yeah, the kids are playing for their lives for a variety of reasons. And there's an impromptu junior hockey report for our friends at the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Hey, Nelson writes in. Hey, stick tap, he said. Nelson writes in. He says, Joe is always so well-spoken and well-versed. Stick tap. Here's a stick tap
Thank you,
for
Nelson.
Joe Lozito. Okay, can we just for a second, I'm going to bring you down. No. First, I'll build you up.
Okay.
Ryan in Saratoga, New York writes in. He says, what a great beard. How long you been growing that baby, Joe?
Oh God, Roddy, I've been growing it for years. I think it stopped. I should it should be done. I should have ZZ Top level beard right by now, but I think it stops. But I try to take good care
Okay.
of it. So
Okay. And I'm going to bring you down by talking about the Bills. They were
good.
I thought they were the best team. I had a Buffalo-Detroit Super Bowl. And after what I saw in Miami yesterday, which I know you didn't watch, but trust me, you didn't miss anything. They were bad. Although maybe that's the kick in the butt they need. I don't know. How are you Bills fans taking it?
Well, a lot of people are taking it worse than I am. I generally try to be the optimist and try to look at the positives, and I don't think there are any positives from yesterday. They generally go through a 2-game losing streak every year, and when they're done with that 2-game losing streak, they usually take off. So they've already had that losing streak this year, and coming out of the bye, they destroyed Carolina. They had an impressive victory over Kansas City, and I don't know what happened yesterday, if they were looking ahead to Tampa next week. But I mean, for McDermott to get outcoached by Mike McDaniel of all people, I don't even know what to say. It's obvious this team has a glaring weakness at wide receiver, and the unfortunate thing is this is nothing new. This has been something they've had since Stephon Diggs left, and I was happy to see him go. I think for everything he does on the field, his off the field stuff is a distraction. And the unfortunate thing is right now, they're wasting Josh Allen's prime years. They need to bring in
Oh
some
yeah.
wide receivers. And I know Brandon Beane tried to make some trades at the deadline, but unfortunately, the teams that were looking to dump wide receivers were teams like Miami and the Jets, and they're in the Bills division, so they're not going to deal with them. This is something that needs to be addressed. A lot of Bills fans have been calling for McDermott's head and Beane's head for a few seasons now, and I've always been the one that said no, because who are you going to bring in that's better? And I think this season, more than any, I'm sort of the mindset of I don't know if anyone's necessarily going to be better, but maybe you have to bring in different voices. And I want to see how the rest of the season goes. And if a loss at Miami against basically a minor league football team in absolute disarray, and the way the Patriots have picked up their game this year, if that's not the kick in the pants that they need, then they're in more trouble than any of us know.
Well, again, well said. Sometimes these teams need a kick in the butt. It's not going to be smooth all the way through. So we'll see. We'll see what this does for them. What about the news, the breaking news out of the Big Apple today that Brian Daboll was fired? I was kind of waiting for it, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of time. And Daboll, he was here, offensive coordinator here. Well, not here. He was up in Buffalo, and he got the opportunity to coach the Giants. And the Giants they're sort of hot one week, not hot the next week, and they have a lot of troubles. And they lost Scadaboo, and I heard Dart got a concussion yesterday.
Mhm.
It might just be time to move on from him, but I don't think anyone is surprised, to be honest with you. I think, like you say, we're just sitting here waiting for it to happen. And from everything I've heard, he seems to be a pretty decent guy that knows his stuff, and I hope he gets another opportunity somewhere.
I think he's a great coach. I really do. I
Yeah.
don't know who could be successful with the New York Giants. I wish well to Kafka. Okay. Daryl is watching in Calgary. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line and he says, great episode with Joe discussing junior hockey. Please tell him to head to Alberta and the AJHL. We would love to have him in Canmore and enjoy an Eagles game. Joe, you're going to be like the Pope. You did make you've made a Western run, right? Didn't you go my old stomping grounds in PA, or am I wrong? Didn't you go out west?
I went out west. One of the things I want to say is I'm really happy about the Rough Riders. And years ago, a group of Rough Rider fans and CFL fans overall, they actually pulled their money together and flew me out to Saskatchewan for the Labor Day Classic, and it was wonderful. So I'm really happy that the Riders are there. I'm happy that the Riders are there, but I'm really happy for the people that I know out there because I know it means the world to them. And I've never been out to PA. I would love. My son and I were actually talking about that, just with the different Western League teams out in Saskatchewan, and then the SJ teams. I'm friends with Killer Kaminsky there in Larange, so we would love to get out to Saskatchewan at some point and hit Alberta as well.
Okay, so there you go. Joe Lozito coming to an arena near you, everybody. No promises yet. Okay, and so speaking of so back to the NHL. You see why I'm calling this the yard sale episode. This has been a yard sale,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with it. I'm okay. You can talk about a variety of things. The Islanders are at New Jersey tonight, one of 4 games. The Rangers, meanwhile, home to Nashville. Um, you want the Islanders to lose? Do you still? Do you want to explain that to the viewers?
Yes. So the Islanders are my team. I don't want them to lose. I will never root against the Islanders. But that being said, in a matter of a few seasons, they have gone from one of the teams that has the absolute worst prospect pools to probably one of the top 1 or 2 prospect pools in the league. This is one of those years. It's sort of a transition year where they're starting to introduce the young kids. Matthew Schaefer is an absolute stud. My choice for rookie of the year, obviously, but he's just the start. They have so many good young prospects coming along, and my take on it is if they were to make the playoffs, they're going to get in as an 8 seed or a 7 seed, and they're probably just going to get dummied by Washington or Carolina. I mean, obviously, once the playoffs start, anything can happen. But thinking logically, I'd rather them miss the playoffs and be a lottery team than be the 8 seed and just be a sacrificial lamb. And I had mentioned already Ethan Belchez. That's the guy I want the Islanders to get, and the only way they're going to get him is if they're in the lottery. So I do not actively root for them to lose. I accept the losses a little easier this season if that's diplomatic enough.
Well, you know what's funny? I root for the coaches. I think you do, especially a guy like Patrick Waugh, because I love his fire. He's like one of my favorite goalies of all time. But I love that Martin St. Louis survived Montreal's rebuild long enough to be around for what they're enjoying now. Do you think Patrick Waugh will be in the same position?
Yeah, I think so. I think with Matthew Darsh coming in to be the GM, I mean, I think people sometimes get provincial, and I think with Matthew Darch being a French Canadian, Patty Waugh being a French Canadian, Patty Waugh's right hand man, Benoit Derosier, he's French Canadian, and then they made some changes on the coaching staff to help with the PK and the power play, including bringing in Bobby Bugner, and he's done really well with the penalty killing this year. So I think so. I think Darsh I mean, Darsh comes from a winning team. He comes from Tampa. He knows how to win. He's seen how they put organizations together, winning organizations. So, um, I think Darsh is smart enough to know that this is the start of sort of weeding out the older players, bringing in the younger players, and I have no qualm saying it. I think in 3 to 4 seasons, this team is going to be a problem for everybody.
Joe Lazito joining us from the Coliseum Chronicles podcast, where he chronicles the Coliseum and the Islanders. And I get a kick out of and low key admire your hatred of the New York Rangers to the degree, to the degree that you said you guys used to joke about Ron Duguay. I won't say what you used to joke about, but that's how much you hate the New York Rangers. So the fact that they're 0-6 at home with a new coach, you must just be tickled.
Yeah, I love it. And just to talk about Duguay for a minute, that was when I was a lot younger and maybe a little more impetulant or whatever you want to say. But obviously, I respect the man, and as I got older, I respect the style of play he was. But he was a pretty boy, and I think my mom actually had a crush on him at one point. But
Every
that's a
woman
good
did.
looking man right there. That's a good looking man, Roddy. So but yeah. Having the Rangers, the Islanders just beat them. They shut them out at the Garden 5-0. The Rangers haven't won at home yet. And the reality is, I think they've played 6 games at home and have 6 goals, and the Islanders played 1 game at the Garden and have 5 goals. So they're outscoring the Islanders 6-5 at Madison Square Garden this year. And I love the fact that the Islanders have more wins at the Garden than the Rangers do this season.
The greatest quote, I think, to ever come out of New York, at least hockey circles, was Herb Brooks saying his biggest challenge coaching the Rangers. Do you know the quote? Was that his wife had a picture of Ron Duguay on the nightstand by their bed? You must have heard that
I'm
one.
not surprised. I probably did. I mean, and for us down here, Herbie being the 1980 Olympic coach, we're well familiar with a lot of his quotes. He has some great ones, but I absolutely believe that one. I mean, what can you say? I'm comfortable enough to say that that is a good looking man.
Yeah, and a great guy. And a great guy. I mean, I feel bad. He actually invited me up to Alaska to hang out with him and Sarah Palin, and I said no. I felt bad afterwards, but I'm like, I don't want to go to Alaska. You want to come down here in Florida? Yeah, I get a point. You love Florida too. You're going to live here one day, are you not, Joe?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to head down to Florida at some point. It's funny because on our way home yesterday, we drove home from Canada yesterday, and I laughed because when we planned our trip last year, we actually didn't get to a game in Owen Sound because of the snow. And I said this year, let's plan the trip for November, so hopefully we won't hit any snow. And the first 4 days, it was great. It was a little chilly, but I don't mind that. And then yesterday in Brantford, we woke up to snow, so the first half of the trip home was a little treacherous. And I don't mind the cold and I don't mind the snow, but I think like a lot of people, as you get older, you sort of gravitate towards the warm weather. And my wife Andrea, she's always been a sun worshiper, so she can't wait to get out of here.
Well, she's a classy dame, and she
She
can
is,
sure pick them,
yes.
and we got to have the more hockey people we can have down here in Florida, the better. By the way, a minute to go. Will you be watching the Grey Cup Sunday, and if so, where?
Actually, if I was going to be home, I would definitely be watching it. I will actually be up in Buffalo at the Bills game, so I will have to DVR the game and watch it when I get back.
And you'll be cheering for?
Oh, the Riders, come on. That's a no-brainer. I mean, they're going to win. It's ordained. It's going to happen. No problem. Automatic.
There you go. It's the Joe Lozito. Frenzy will be watching from his living room in the sky. You know that for a fact.
Oh,
Oh my God, we'll have to be settling him down. Yeah. Okay, Joe. From the Coliseum Chronicles podcast, you can get it wherever you enjoy your podcast. Thanks for the time, brother. Keep up the great work. Keep in touch.
love you, Roddy. Anytime.
Love you too, buddy. Joe Lozito. Chad watches this show every single day. We'll be right back with a sports update, everybody, and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada, and of course on Game Plus TV.